Right. I started the TEPAP program about 25 years ago. This is a 24th year. And it's what the acronym is for is the Executive Program for Agricultural Producers. And when I came out of industry, what I realized is that Extension was targeting, as they have to, the entire population of agriculture. All programs are totally open. But that they were very much state-bounded. And so this program was geared toward a segment of the commercial agriculture producer. Not just size, but just very business-oriented producers. And so we have things like macro and global geopolitics in terms of impact on firm-level decision-making, strategic management, family dynamics within the firm, operations management, process improvement, financial management, a lot of human resource management things, and a lot of the mega trends affecting the industry. So it covers a wide range of subjects. We have 18 faculty, and 10 of them are private sector. They're not actually university people. And actually, when I first started marketing it, because Extension does not typically go outside of its state boundaries, I had to write the director of the Extension Service in every other state in the country and ask for permission for Texas A&M to mail its literature into their state. And all of them said yes. They said, we don't have anything like that. But again, I was targeting a specific segment on just the business issues. I mean, it wasn't production. It wasn't commodity specific a lot. I mean, there are dairy programs, there are corn college, other things that target producers of a specific commodity. I found that by coming from different geographic areas, and we've had people out of, I guess, 44 states now, 6 Canadian provinces, Australia, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Chile, Mexico, that they learn the difference in their areas. They learn a lot from each other. They also have learned that the problems everybody faces, the weather may be different and things like that, the crop they're growing, but a lot of these issues on the business side, the financing and process improvement, is the same everywhere. We change every year. One thing I do at the end of every program, there are 2 classes, Unit 1 and Unit 2. This is 1 week long each year. I sit down with the class for an hour and a half with nobody, faculty present or anything else, and ask them to take the program apart. Faculty members, either advice to faculty members or anything, or just should I replace somebody, or is a new topic needed that isn't covered now? And then I let them know what changes I've made, because if these guys are going to pay what they're going to pay to come to this program, they have to feel like they're getting their money's worth and that we are listening to them. Because it started off a little cheaper, it's gotten a little more as faculty fees have gone up, as the hotel. We do this at the Barton Creek Executive Conference Center on the other side of Austin. Really nice place. It's kind of like, I always warn everybody the first day, portion or measure your eating, because we have had, I guess it was the year before last, we had a guy that broke the record. He gained 14 pounds in 1 week. And even though they have exercise facilities and everything else, but it's classroom part of the time in a big open amphitheater with lecture, but then there's round tables so they can give and take with the faculty member, and then we have discussion groups where people just have a subject they'd like to see if anyone's interested in. They get together with them over in those discussion groups, no leader, no nothing, and just talk about the issue, whether it's sharing equipment, compensation programs. We had one group of 8 women and 2 men that talked about prenuptial agreements. We focus on peer advisory groups where these guys will continue to use each other as sounding boards. Have a hospitality room, and they eat and have breaks together. Even though there's 2 classes, they get a mingle. So by the time somebody's gone through the whole program, they've met the class ahead of them, their class, and the class behind them. And these guys, many of them stayed networked for a time. The one thing that has happened, after about the 6th year of the program, several of them called and said, would you mind staying around after the program wraps up at noon on Saturday? We'd like to talk to you. Well, 20 some of them came. And what they said is, we miss this. You know, we go to a lot of the programs, farm magazine conferences, commodity groups, farm organizations. But this is all people we feel comfortable with, have the same problems we do, and it's strictly on the business issues. And so they set up an organization. It's a nonprofit corporation for the alumni of the program. It's called the Association of Agricultural Production Executives, AAPEX for short. And we meet at least once each year at different locations. We've been at the Ritz-Carlton Key Biscayne, in Cabo San Lucas. We've been at the Intercontinental in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And lots, where we go, we usually arrange, if it's a field trip, for some unique agricultural operation area. But we bring in people again on emerging topics. Sometimes we have panels. Sometimes it's just people that are, presenting seminars. I was trying to think of anything else that, well, I know one thing that we've tried to do, not every year, but is to bring in somebody who is diametrically opposed to commercial agriculture. Like, we got a woman out of Canada who has the same philosophy as Michael Pollan, who wrote Food Inc. We've had the head of the Environmental Working Group. We've had the head of International Greenpeace. And surprisingly, those are very good interactions. It's kind of, we each kind of understands a little more where the other's coming from, what their priorities are. It's neither changes each other's minds other than to make them a little more open. And that's, I guess, the thing that's happening now is that we're starting to create peer advisory groups out of the membership. With maybe 8 to 10 of them that aren't in the same geographic location, so they're not competing for land or anything, or so that they don't worry. There's something that's said here, get back to the coffee shop or something. Just to talk where the other people in the group can serve as consultants. They actually look at the operation, react to what they see, and a lot of times what they see is that the guy is treating causes and not or he's treating symptoms and not the cause of problems. And sometimes I've been told I hear things I don't like to hear, but I probably need to hear. And there's enough trust and kind of respect for each other in the group that they'll do that. Where maybe in their own family, if their son or daughter tried to say that, it would be squashed or taken personally. This is just being honest with each other. And if you're thinking about doing something, have I missed anything? What are some of the things that might happen? Has somebody here tried this before? One of the things we found out is that an awful lot of the problems somebody has, a solution already exists. Other people have run into the same problem. You just have to find them, or else you have to go through the process of reinventing the wheel all the time. So I guess that's kind of the continuum. Basic educational program, kind of continuing education networking, and then taking it down to a level where you get several things. Continuous improvement management. You deal with issues as they come up, and you get better timing. The one thing, there's a lot of them that I found by observing the most successful of this group, is timing is a big differentiator. When you get into something, when you expand, when you cut back, when you decide to take your resource out of that and reallocate it somewhere else. People think of that with commodities, so when you sell grain or when you sell stock or buy it or real estate. But timing is pervasive to all parts of the business. And having the information, integrated information, getting training if you need it at the time that's targeted at your level, has proven to be valuable. The one other thing AAPEX has done is that we've had, probably every other year, we have a mid-year program. A very specific topic. Now, there was one that was general. Back in 2008, in February, when we held our annual meeting, these guys called me and said, we don't know exactly when, but we're looking at what's happening out here. This economy is going to blow up. And they wanted a meeting on risk mitigation, economic alternatives, and other things. So they said, we want to survive. And we think a lot of people are doing things. We don't know if this is going to come back and hit agriculture. It blew up the real estate market and everything. So they were reasonably perceptive about what was going to happen. And now they're starting to look more. Ag has been on a roll. It's been somewhat immune from this. Now what's going to happen to agriculture if export markets should fall off or anything of that nature? And these land values that people here in the Midwest have been going up. Are those going to soften if income comes down, if interest rates go up? And that's what the program's about. I think in the article you wrote about the program, it's about strategic management. And people always say, well, I always use two examples. One is a definition. It's strategic management is about anticipating, adapting to, driving, or causing, and capitalizing on change. And one of the things you'll see with the top managers is they tend to reject the status quo. Whatever is, they figure something either is better or is going to happen. They assume the moment you continued or you reach a point where you're just comfortable and start coasting, somebody else is passing you up. The other one that I use that Canadians relate to, not Americans so well, Wayne Gretzky, who's considered probably the greatest hockey player of all time, has said in several, I was on a program with him in Los Angeles, and he said this again, this is probably the 100th time he said it. He said, people always ask me, what accounted for your success that's up here, and even the next best top hockey players like it? He said, I've thought about it a lot because I've been asked the question over and over. And he said, the real difference, I think, is that I'm always trying to go where the puck is going to be. Everybody else tries to go where the puck is. And that's strategic management. So that's, I guess you related to A&M. It's back like when Dat Wynn was an All-American middle linebacker. He just always seemed to be where the ball was. That's strategic.